wanted to get Gerald on about the economy, about the new developments, about the world, about all the craziness. But Gerald, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago on the show, trends forecasted social unrest, internment. As things unravel, they're going to clamp down, is his saying. But in the middle of all this, we found a leaked document, and sure enough, the guy did say something true earlier. It was actually on an Army website as well. This is real. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America, and it says political dissidents will be taken to camps and have psyops and re-education run on them. And it says over and over again in the document, go read it. Go read it for yourself, folks, and go look at the document itself, that it will be political dissidents in America. And they also use this overseas. And it goes on and on and on. I tell you, Gerald, from trendsresearch.com, they are now having TSA that started in Boston and New York, all over the country. In fact, they've announced they're coming to Austin to start the groping. They're just at checkpoints, and they do the same thing. Search your bag, start grabbing on you. I'm done. I mean, it's not that, oh, be tough, let the potbelly, grope at the airport. I physically can't handle it, and especially my children. It's because they get off on it. It's not like the doctor where they got to look at you. These people enjoy it. I know you travel a lot. You've talked about it. And now this is martial law. They are phasing it in, the NDAA, the secret arrest. And I've had a lot of police and military call in. Over 90% are awake. Yesterday, everybody agreed. Today, everybody agreed. But one guy, and he calls in saying, yeah, well, some of this is going on, but so what? What do you say to people that don't recognize this? Because you've worked in politics as a consultant. You've done it all. A best-selling author for decades. What do you say to people who don't know history and don't recognize that we've got serious problems? What do you say to people like that?
I just returned from Berlin. And, I travel around. And to me, Berlin, before World War II, was grander than Paris. The boulevards, the streets. And, these are the Germans. I mean, they have it down as far as engineering, style, culture. This isn't a third world banana republic. And you see these beautiful buildings, Alex, from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then you see in between them all new construction from post-World War II. And this keeps going on everywhere you go. These are all bombed out buildings. So it's been haunting me since I've returned. I said to myself, these are the Germans. How can they have let a 2-bit little freak like Hitler destroy their entire country? And then, you look over to Italy, and they had their little freak over there, Mussolini, El Duce. Maybe appropriately, El Duce bag. And how could they have let this guy destroy their country? And then you look in America, and guess what? We have our 2-bit freaks over here as well. Oh, I'm a political dissident because I don't believe the freaks? It's a freak show. I look at the presidential reality show. It's a freak show. Obama just pulled off a George Bush going to Bagram Air Force Base with that phony little speech of his.
He should have been wearing a codpiece like Bush on the aircraft carrier.
Exactly. It was the same thing, just in a different place. And the people are being led by freaks. TSA, Janet Napolitano, hey, you make up your own mind. If you look up to that, that's fine. To me, it's a freak show. So what my dilemma is, how do educated people let their lives be destroyed? This isn't just, a philosophical debate. We're talking about the destruction of an entire nation like Germany that was probably the most at the top of the game in Europe or probably the Western world outside the United States that was building up very strongly as far as the new nation, how could they have been brought down to this destruction? 15 million people having nowhere to live after World War II ended. 15 million. How could we continue to fight these wars and let freaks run our lives? Now, is the word of the use, the word freak, too harsh? I mean, look, Charlie Chaplin did a great takeoff on Hitler. You want to see a little freak? Hey, to me, anybody that believes George Bush or Obama, knock yourself out. To me, it's a freak show. It's a freak show for these politicians to go around the country. Hey, I'm going to go down on the farm and I'm going to talk like this and sit on a bale of hay. And I'm going to talk to the folks. I listened to Obama's, one of his recent speeches. He used folks in it about 15 times.
Wait a minute. Did you hear Hillary when she goes to different areas? She talks in the accent. So does Rick Perry. When she went to Kentucky, she went, I'm here, y'all. Good to see. Guys, pull up Hillary talks with Kentucky accent. And it's like, even they were like, what is this? The most wild-eyed, moonshine-drinking hillbilly didn't talk like that. That's the condescension of these people.
Exactly. So what has happened to the human spirit? That here we are, watching our nation being destroyed in front of us. Everyone knows it. I mean, the TSA, this is just a show that they're going to keep putting more and more pressure on us until we have no rights left. And by the way, that's what the Germans told me as well. They didn't lose their rights just in one day. They were taken away from them, taken away to the point where if they spoke out, they would be taken out. And the same thing's happening here. A political dissident? I mean, what? If you don't believe in the crap that they're shoving down your throat, then you're an enemy of the state? How, you mean when you could see through the syndicate and call them a bunch of criminals? Oh, then you're a dissident? And so what's happening here? But again, to me, and this is what it's going through my head since my return, what is it in the human spirit that gives the people the lack of courage, dignity, respect, integrity?
I'll tell you what it is. Corrupt control freaks want power and will weasel in, and normal people just want to go home and be with their family and sit there with horror, and they are buying 5 million guns a month. So people are waking up, but I agree with you. This is insane. And reading this document, leaked U.S. Army document, and we found out it is on Army sites as well after it was leaked, outlines plan for re-education camps in America, and it says they're going to, if you criticize the government, if you're involved in political activities, or you're identified as a malcontent, trained agitator, political leader, that you'll be taken for re-education at the camp.
Well, look at the cover of the Trends Journal. What was it? Is next train to Auschwitz.
Well, and the one before that was you as an enemy of the state, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we've been saying this, we've been talking about it, it's here in front of us. Could you imagine being a political, not agreeing with the crap that they're shoving down our throats, and all of a sudden you're singled out and taken out? And it's only going to get worse. The financial collapse is underway. There's no solving the problems in Spain, in Italy, in Greece, in England, in Ireland, in Portugal, in Romania, in Bulgaria, in Hungary, in the United States.
It's like you said, it's only going to get worse, and now they admit Spain is totally collapsing, exactly as many of our financial experts, you and others, predicted. It went right through Ireland, right through Greece, right through Italy, then into Spain, Portugal, France, right through, all totally collapsing. And the bankers demand more when it's not even their money, it's their debt.
Yeah, and then figure this one out. Why do the people have to suffer because of what the banks made bad bets? By the way, up in Iceland, if you recall, they were the first country that went belly up. And they said they had a direct democracy. They had a referendum. The people said, no, we're not going to pay the banks. They made bad bets. All those people that put the money in the banks and lost it, that's their problem. The Danish, the English, and others.
And it turned out at 92% of that in that country, was it 93? It wasn't their debt. The media said it was their debt. It wasn't.
Exactly. So they didn't have austerity measures. It's not the Spanish debt. It's not the American debt. Look at that. Henry Frankenstein Paulson guy that was the Treasury Secretary, former CEO of Goldman Sachs gang under the Bush regime, that made up this whole TARP story that we had to bail out the banks. What, does everybody have ADD? They can't remember that one? Go back to the videotape. Listen to Frankenstein Paulson telling the people, oh, we're going to bail it out because we're going to save the homeowners. That's right. That's what he said. So what this is, Alex, in pure and simple fashion, for anybody that has a brain that's still working, it's called fascism. The merger of state and corporate powers. The money changers and bankers have taken over. Everybody in the world has to bail them out so they can keep living in the style that they've been accustomed to.
While their media lectures us that it's our debt.
Exactly, and it's not. You know, by the way, I can't stand what's going on. I'm so sick and tired of watching. I have to watch this stuff. CNN, MSNBC. I mean, this is kiddie crap. And they just keep going on and on with it, with this arrogance. This is what it is, and this is why you should believe
Gerald,
it.
stay there.
This is what I know.
It's incredible. We're going to come back and take a few calls, but get into other trends and also what you witnessed in Europe. We're going to talk to Anthony first up. He has secretly worked with the military. He has some info on the FEMA camp information. Stay with us. But we've had a real nerve with people in there trying to deny this says it's for domestic operations when there's hundreds of other documents and this one admitting it's for domestic operations. But that's good. It's good that some military people are freaking out saying this can't be true. What about the NDAA saying we'll secretly arrest citizens and disappear them or kill them, like with the Predator drones? What about the drones domestically? What about all of this? All this stuff you people denied. I saw Homeland Security on C-SPAN say they'd have TSA on the streets of America 9 years ago. Now it's happening. Oh, I was a fearmonger. That wasn't going to happen. Oh, by the way, we have the Hillary fake Kentucky voice. This is real from when she was running against Obama in 2008. Here it is.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far.
That's enough. You think I'm joking? And I heard Rick Perry speaking to Hispanic groups in California was running for president, and I would be so insulted because he was going, hello, good to see you. He wasn't speaking Spanish. He was going, I've got some family that does that. We'll be at a Mexican food restaurant, and they'll go, I would like taco. I mean, it's so condescending. Is that what you were talking? It'd be like, Gerald, if I went to an Italian restaurant and said, hello, Luigi, or like some kind of fake Italian accent, oh, mamma mia. Or it'd be like if you went, into, say, some East Texas people's restaurant, we're like, hey, how you doing there, boy? Why don't you bring me a chicken fried steak? I mean, it's so condescending. Is that what you were talking about?
Well, yes, in the sense that it's a freak show. That's all it is. These are freaks. Only a freak would behave like, no, hey, wait a minute. She's the Secretary of State. She was a presidential candidate and a former first lady. I could become a political dissident for calling a freak because only a freak would behave like that, in my estimation. The crowd appeared to love it. They were all applauding like little children. And that goes back to what I was saying. How could a civilized society like Germany, the top engineers in the world, this beautiful country, be taken over and bow down to and suck up and follow a two-bit freak like Hitler? How could Italy have done it? How does America do it? The people keep applauding. They applauded that cheap act. They applaud. Let me read you this. You want to see a part of a freak show and a guy that applauds? Chris Matthews, host of MSNBC's Hardball, how about Softball, raved about President Obama's speech made to American troops during his surprise visit to Bagram Air Force Base in Afghanistan. Oh, and you go back to the speech, and President Obama says how close to our heart Bagram Air Force bases. I'm sure everybody out there listening, it's so close to your heart, and you could find it, you know, on a map and put a pin on it. Anyway.